You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We have some very optimistic news to get to on the injury front for Rashee Rice. We will update you with everything you need to know with the newest report and also let you hear from Patrick Mahomes coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, let's show some love to Rashee Rice making his return to the football field in 2025. I'm looking at you, want Rashee Rice to have a big year in 2025, hit the like button. All right, let's get at least 500 likes to tell Rashee Rice that we're rooting him on, that we can't wait to have him back on the football field in 2025. I think he's going to be fantastic. Hit that like button if you want him to have a fantastic year, and we'll get started with today's show. Rice-A-Roni. Rashee Rice-A-Roni. We might have to start calling him that. The Chiefs' third-year receiver out of SMU. He's made quite a bit of headlines in his career for both the good and the bad. But it has been a while since we have seen Rashee Rice on the football field. You got to go all the way back to week 4 when he suffered a torn LCL injury in a collision with Patrick Mahomes after an interception that Mahomes threw. And that ended the year for Rice after a fantastic start to 2025. And it's a bit of a long road to recovery back for Rashee Rice to the football field. But things are trending upwards, at least according to Ryan Smith, Pro Football Focus, who put out this report within the last couple of days. With OTAs underway, the Chiefs are expected to take a cautious approach to Rice's recovery. If all progresses smoothly, he should be ramped up during training camp and could be ready to return at full strength by week 1. And this lines up with what Andy Reid told us back in April when he said the progress is positive, and also added that Rice is on track to be fully ready to go by the time training camp gets here. This is a big deal for the Kansas City Chiefs to have Rashee Rice back at full strength. And I love the way that he started last season prior to the injury. I thought he had a really good rookie year. But his second year, he was on track to being one of the top receivers in the NFL, of taking that second-year jump. He looked like, and I still believe, he can be a top 10 receiver in the National Football League. I don't think that's a stretch for Rashee Rice at all. Now, with that said, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They got all the way to the Super Bowl without Rashee Rice last year. Bringing in DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster. They did enough to get by. And that's the key here. They did enough to get by. All right? You look at the difference in this passing game with Rashee Rice compared to without Rashee Rice, though. His presence was still clearly missed. Although it may have not played a huge difference in the win-loss column, the flow of the offense and how this team operated was much worse without Rashee Rice. And if he takes that jump, even if he was just the production of his rookie year, and you add him to the fold here, that's a big difference for this Kansas City Chiefs team. And you think about the timeline of what we're talking about here. We hear Andy say that he should be good for training camp. We have the report from Pro Football Focus that things are trending in the right direction. To kind of get perspective, I'm not a doctor, but I've done my research, and not the Aaron Rodgers type of research here. An LCL surgery typically takes about six months to recover. And Rice's happened on October 14th, meaning that 6 months to the date would be April 14th. So with that said, by the time training camp gets here, that should be plenty of time for Rashee Rice to be back at full strength and to be an impact player for this Kansas City Chiefs team in 2025. Do you agree with me that Rashee Rice, when healthy, is a top 10 receiver in this league? It's our pinned comment today. You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, in for no, if Rice is a top 10 receiver or not. Kansas City Chiefs Report is covering the Chiefs like no one else is with our daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day. We have live shows each and every Wednesday, Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and so much more. The best part about it, you can subscribe to the channel for the cost of nothing. Nothing. A candy bar costs more than what it costs to subscribe to the Chiefs Report. It's free. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV. Stay up to date all offseason long, where there is no offseason here on the channel. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. I am optimistic when I look at Rashee Rice of the sample size of what we've seen in a year and 4 games, that his best football is still well in front of him, that he hasn't even come close to reaching his full potential yet, that the best is yet to come for Rashee Rice. Let's take a look a bit further at Rice's resume. The former second-round pick out of SMU won a Super Bowl in his rookie campaign. And as a rookie, he was second in this team in receiving yards, only behind Travis Kelce. He was first among wide receivers in that category. He was also first in receiving touchdowns as a rookie as well. And the pace that he was on last year, prior to the injury, he was off to a great start with 24 catches, nearly 300 yards receiving. He had a great game against the Baltimore Ravens there week 1, had 2 touchdown scores. The rookie campaign was just shy of 1,000 yards at 938 off of 79 catches and about 12 yards reception, 7 total touchdowns that year. I think Rashee Rice can be a star in this league. Now, the discussions about him long-term, there's still some things to figure out, especially when it comes to the off-the-field portion and how he recovers from the injury. But I think everything's there for Rashee Rice to be a top player if he can put it all together and if he can stay healthy and if he can stay out of trouble and all those things. Now, it's also worth noting that recently Rashee Rice attended Patrick Mahomes' private workouts. He does these every year with the skill position players in his home of Tyler, Texas. And Rice was there and participated, and Patrick Mahomes liked what he saw from Rashee Rice, saying this: expectations are high. I mean, he's looked really good. He's running routes. He's catching the football. When we get back into actual OTAs, how much he'll be able to do. But he's been able to do everything here as far as running routes and everything like that. I personally have no concern whatsoever that Rashee Rice is going to make a full recovery here. This is not an in-season thing where they're trying to rush him back before he's ready. The fact that April was kind of the time when he should have made a full recovery, and we're talking about realistically not needing him till August or September, I think that all lines up beautifully if you're the Kansas City Chiefs operating in this situation. And if you don't believe me, well, let's hear from a doctor. Jeff Moeller had this to say on Rashee Rice. 0 concerns about Rashee Rice health-wise for week 1 this season. Movement looks phenomenal. My guess is he could probably play in a game today if he needed to. And I think personally, you get a healthy Rashee Rice with what you already have. I know there are some haters and losers and naysayers that are down on this receiver room, which to me just doesn't make any sense. I think this is going to be the best receiving core we've seen since the Tyreek Hill days here in Kansas City with Sammy Watkins and all that. When you look at Xavier Worthy coming off a strong second half of the year last year, Hollywood Brown fully healthy after missing most of last season. You get Rashee Rice back at full strength. Jalen Royals, I think people were very excited about the 4th-round pick out of Utah State. Still got Juju hanging around there, Nico, among others here. Don't sleep on this receiver room. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be very excited. And the other thing, too, with the speed, with Rashee Rice going 100 miles an hour, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, I mean, you're going to have opportunities to stretch the field in ways you have not been able to do in quite some time. How would you grade the Chiefs wide receiver room? A, B, C, D, or F? What do you think of these guys entering 2025? Weigh in the comments section and let us know. Last thing before we wrap up here, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is a potential suspension for Rashee Rice with last offseason's shenanigans. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm not worried about a suspension. Here's what I mean by this, all right? Don't take this the wrong way, folks. I think worst case scenario, he gets suspended 4 to 6 games potentially. And the league's going to let the legal process play itself out first before they potentially hand down a punishment. That's their new way of doing things after a lot of the mistakes Goodell has made. Even if that's said, let's say that it's 4 or 6 games. He might not get suspended at all potentially. But let's just say that it's 4 or 6 games. That's just more recovery time. And we saw the Chiefs win plenty of games last year without Rashee Rice. So to me, I'm not concerned. I think it's all going to work itself out. It would suck for him not being on the football field, not getting those game checks. But I think big picture for the Chiefs, it shouldn't be that much of a concern one way or the other. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.